Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Austin with Always Dad, and today I'm going to give you my top 5 tips on how to host a virtual gender reveal. If you're new here to Always Dad, we focus on producing high quality content focused on fatherhood and a dad's perspective on different products and topics, just like this video, to help you on this parenting journey. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please consider liking down below, as well as subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification icon so that you get notified when we post a new video. So tip number 1 is to create a Zoom.us account. Now, technically, you could host this party on something like Skype or even on FaceTime technically, but I think Zoom is really awesome because of a lot of the features that come with Zoom. Zoom is really great for meetings and is used a lot of times in companies, but it allows you to do different backgrounds, which we'll talk about in a minute, as well as just having more control over what happens, as well as recording for your meeting or your gender reveal party. So first things first is you need to create an account. Now, Zoom is a paid service, but you can technically do it for free. So if you want to do it for free, the only main limitation really is that you have a 40-minute limit. Now, for some gender reveals, like ours, it actually was shorter than 40 minutes technically, and it would have been just fine for us to get a free account. So think about that before you go and buy the account. But if you want to buy an account, a single account is $14.99 a month. And so it is pretty cool to have it if you have a small business or if you use it a lot to talk to family or friends or whatever else, if you're out of town or anything like that. I think Zoom is a really cool tool, but if you want to go the free option, you can do 40-minute meetings, and you could always just start a new meeting if for some reason you hit that 40-minute limit. Tip number 2 is to create a Facebook event. Now, creating a Facebook event is both easy and free, and all of your family is probably on Facebook, and if they're not, then they should just get on Facebook. Creating a Facebook event is really awesome because it allows you to communicate really easily with your friends and family on any updates on the party, on times or anything like that, and saves you money, like I said, on invitations and mailing and things like that. So all around, it is the best option, I think, for sending out an invite to all of your friends and family. Now, another thing that's cool about Facebook events is that you can actually send out different posts, like I said, about updates, but you can use polls with Facebook polls to take a poll on what your family thinks the baby is, whether boy or girl. But if you want to do what we did, we actually posted a Google form on there, which was a questionnaire essentially about a few different things about what they thought the gender was, what they thought the name should be, whether it's boy or girl, some books that they suggest us reading to the baby. If you're interested in our Google form, then I will leave that down in the description below so that you can see what kind of questions we used and how it's set up. But it makes it really easy to see how many people voted for each thing, and you can also see individual people on what their thoughts were on the different things, and that's part of what we did when we did the questions and things during the actual gender reveal itself. Tip number 3 is to decide how you want to reveal the gender. There are a million different ways that you could do a gender reveal, but the way that we did it, if you're interested, and if you watched the last video, you'll see that we actually cracked eggs on our head, which is a bit of a messy way, but it is kind of fun because it makes it a little bit more interesting on camera. And that's kind of the key thing with it. You can do anything from cakes to confetti to smoke bombs or anything of that sort, or even they have burnout tires for cars if you want to get really creative. Just make it interesting because you are on video. So I would suggest avoiding things like cakes because they're kind of boring in my opinion, which is part of the reason we didn't do a cake, because it makes it a little complicated. But if you don't have someone to help you like we did, then you'll have to do something like a cake if you don't want to know the gender before the party or before everyone else knows. Tip number 4 is to create a backdrop. Now, if you watch the last video, you'll get a couple of clips of the backdrop that we used. I actually got it on Amazon, which I'll leave a link down below, and any link that's linked to a product or anything like that that's down below, it is an affiliate link. And so if you do click that link, it doesn't cost any extra for you, but it does give me a little bit of kickback a little bit of money to support this channel. So I do really appreciate it, but I'll leave the link down below for this backdrop that we used. It was only like 20 bucks, super simple. The only thing I would tell you to beware of is that it does not come with a pump for the foil balloons. That's something that we realized, and we ended up actually breaking one of the seals on that foil balloon, which was the girl foil balloon. So we didn't actually end up using those balloons. We had to go to Party City. But the foil balloons say boy or girl. It's pretty cool looking. Just make sure you get a pump for it. It does say it on the Amazon ad or Amazon posting, but it is kind of like you really have to scroll for it. If you're not looking for it, you won't know it's there. So just keep that in mind to get a pump specifically for that so that you don't break them like we did, and you'll be perfectly fine. But there are a bunch of different backdrop options on Amazon, which is kind of where I would suggest going to, because you can get full-on sets of things, and you can get the kind of the blue and pink thing that we have in the back, as well as the different balloons that we have on the top, which actually comes with a little strip that helps you to kind of connect the balloons all together so that they stay together. You could also make a arch that way, but we didn't really spend the extra time to do that. But if it is something that you want to do, that is an option as well. We just have a fireplace mantle set up here at where we're staying, and so we kind of just used that to our advantage and made it look pretty decent. For this tip, it is just kind of up to your imagination and up to what works best for you guys. It can be super complex and super creative and super big of a backdrop, or a whole room decorated if you want. But the cool thing about doing a virtual gender reveal is that you don't have to decorate the whole house, and you don't have to buy a bunch of food, and you don't have to do a bunch of craziness to make your place all decorated. You can actually save a lot of money this way and just do what is going to be in frame on your camera. Another thing is to make sure that you keep your camera high enough, on a surface high enough, so that the angle is not like shooting up your nose, which is kind of awkward for anybody watching. Tip number 4 is to supply virtual backgrounds for your guests. So the cool thing about Zoom is that you can actually have your own background, or backdrop, I should say, in your frame on your video. Especially if you have a green screen, it actually would be even better that way, because you can set it up to read the green screen. But the regular backdrop or background that you put is pretty cool, because all you do is just take a photo and put it there. So for example, if you see in our gender reveal video, you can actually see that one of our friends took the frame of our ultrasound and put that as his background. Pretty cool. But where we found a couple of pretty cool backdrops is actually on fun365.com, which I will leave a link to down below in the description, where we got a couple of tips on how to do this, and they actually supply downloadable backgrounds that you can send out. They have a boy one or a girl one, or even a neutral one if people don't really want to choose sides and they're just kind of down for whatever. So that's just a fun way to make it more interactive for your friends and family. So that's all the tips, but I do have one more bonus tip for you, which is just have fun. You could do a few different things with the gender reveal like you would probably do in an actual like in-person gender reveal. You could have some games, you could have some questionnaires, you could have some polls live, or you can do kind of like what we did. We actually read off the wives' tales about different symptoms that you're having during your pregnancy. So if you're sick, it means that you're having a boy or girl or whatever else. I'll leave a link down below to a website where you can find all these wives' tales to make it easy for you. But it's a fun way to kind of take a poll on, all right, this is what wives' tales are telling us it is before you go into the gender reveal. We also took the ultrasound, not the one that had it written on like what it was, but just one of the regular ultrasounds. And we put that photo on to the Zoom so that the family and friends could tell us what they thought it was in the chat, whether a boy or a girl, based on what the photo was, which kind of made it fun and interactive for everybody involved. Another thing that we actually did was, for only a few family members did this, but we sent out a link to a shirt, which was Team Boy or Team Girl. So if our family was interested in being more interactive with the gender reveal, they could buy that shirt, which a few family members did, and they could support their team, whether it be team girl or team boy, and kind of make it fun. Those are a few things that you could do to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more interactive. Like I said, with all the things that we did, we actually ended up hitting right around 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, but not too much longer, even with helping people kind of get set up, which is another thing to keep in mind, is that some people are going to have a bit of complications with getting their Zoom figured out, with pinning your video so they can see you and things like that. So those are my top 5 tips on how to host a virtual gender reveal. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel with those bell notifications on so that you get notified when we post a new video. Also, comment down below on anything that you want to hear me talk about or something you want me to review. Stay tuned for the next video, as I'm going to be doing a review of the Leachco Snuggle body pillow. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.